around so much that it even feels like sustainable if you just say it. Well, we are actually doing something about it, so let's dive in. There's no surprise that transportation is one of the biggest polluters in the world, which is why, for example, European Union has decided to ban the sale of new vehicles that will have internal combustion engine cars from 2035. So we know the future is electric. But almost nobody can afford it, and there's so much uncertainty. The uncertainty comes from cities lack the infrastructure. Companies are not ready to build the charging networks because there is not sufficient EV adoption. Drivers are not ready to switch to EVs because there is not sufficient infrastructure. So, Oxdrive is a real business solving real problems on the streets, which is way more scalable than initially you might think. And while politicians are thinking how to solve this pressing EV adoption problem and challenge, we have an offer. On the one side of the coin, we have charging network that uses an untapped potential of EV batteries from damaged cars that afterwards we transform into a sustainable power bank for our stations. On the other side, if you were wondering, how big is the market for charging stations as such without the batteries? Oh, it's this number, so it's huge. But on the other side, we also are having top-notch electric vehicle car sharing and car subscription services. And what's interesting is that all of our cars are self-insured, which helps us to save up to 60% in repair costs. It's like this big circle of sustainability and smart tech helping you to get from one point to another point by prospering also EV adoption. This is the market for car sharing as such. Not that may be interesting, right? But if we look at the big picture, it's $145 billion market in which Oxdrive is building this ecosystem for sustainable mobility. And I would like to remind you that this is one of the hardest, but at the same time hottest industries. Mobility and energy has been and always will be needed in any country in the world. An industry in which it is hard to get into. Once you are there, the future is bright. But of course, we are not only talking. We have been in the market for more than 12 months. The revenue was 1.1 million euros in a small market of Latvia. The break-even point we will have in summer without any external funding. This is the drive behind the Ox, people that are actually innovating and really paving the way for the sustainability. We couldn't have done it without them. To finish off my very humble presentation, I would like to tell you that if every person who owns a private car would switch to Oxdrive, then we would reach sustainable mobility in 20 years instead of 120. I would like to thank you on behalf of all my colleagues, co-founders, and you are all lovely OXOX instead of XOXO. Thank you.
All right. Oxdrive. I would subscribe to that. Bring it to Canada.